Good morning, everybody. We're out here today talking about the pros and cons of wood decking. We recently talked about the pros and cons of composite decking, so definitely merits talking about wood. Right here in my hands, I've got a pressure-treated wood deck board, very commonly seen on decks installed in our area. Other parts of the country, they use different types of lumber for building decks, but in our area, you're mostly going to see either composite or pressure-treated wood. So some of the pros to wood decking is the cost. It's much more economical than composite decking. The material's cheaper. It's a little less labor to put together. So overall, treated wood deck is going to be a lot more cost effective than composite decking, at least up front. It's a little easier to DIY. We were talking about how composite decking can be a little difficult to trim out and make it look as nice as you want it to. With wood, it's a little more forgiving. Oftentimes it's just getting screwed or nailed together. It's a little easier to make it look nice and look consistent with other decks that you've seen. And then some people just like the look of wood. Some people just want their deck to be made out of wood because that's their preference, a little more traditional looking, and that's what they want their project to look like. There's nothing wrong with that. As far as cons go, obviously big con and the biggest con with a pressure treated wood deck would be the maintenance of it. The treatment of the wood only lasts for so long, and eventually the wood can take on moisture. When that happens, you need to retreat your deck and be consistently either staining it or treating it every typically 3 or so years. And if you add that up over time, you know, the labor to clean it properly, apply the stain, you know, all the prep work, buying the stain itself, that's a significant cost and time requirement over time to make sure that your deck is lasting as long as it should. And that's definitely something to consider on the front end. Another thing that can be a disadvantage with a treated wood deck is it can get slippery if it starts to get a little bit of algae on it and it rains. It can be a little bit of a hazard. I've slipped and fallen on them. You can also get splinters. And then another disadvantage to wood decks is just the inconsistency in the material. If even from a good supplier, if we lined up 6 or 8 deck boards, they're all going to vary a little bit in width. Sometimes they taper down at the end a little bit from being kiln dried. So there's just some inconsistency. You can also see knots, like there's a knot here. This one doesn't look too bad, but sometimes there's some knot holes. And so some people who spend money on a treated wood deck can be a little disappointed when they see the lumber show up from the delivery company and see the inconsistencies in the material. So those are the things that you need to think through if you're considering a deck project. Again, just to sum up, with a wood deck, the pros are cost. It's more cost effective than composite. It's easier to install if you're doing DIY. You've got a traditional look if that's just the look you're going for. And then the cons are the maintenance, the safety concerns, like with it getting slippery and slivers, and then just the consistency of the material. So I hope this helps you with your decision. Thank you.